I'm talking with Jocelyne Saab, who's a Lebanese filmmaker, and her film Utopia in the Making is having a revival, I suppose we could describe it, in the Second Iranian Film Festival. It was made originally in 1980, and we're going to talk a little bit about how that came about. Jocelyne, perhaps you can tell us first of all why were you commissioned to make this film, or how did it come about that someone from...
Yes, I was commissioned. I was an independent filmmaker, and at this period I was we were a few independent, the end of the independent filmmaking of this style. I was receiving faxes from a Japanese company because I had made many films on wars at this period that had toured the world. Mm-hmm. And one day I received a fax telling me, would you for us make a film with this subject? What's rule under Islam in Iran? So it was quite a very, very wide subject. Mm-hmm. And first I said, no, I don't want to go to wars anymore, or to war beginnings. Mm-hmm. And there I have a friend of mine who's a researcher and said, you're crazy? You absolutely must go. It's the most interesting subject you've had since a long time. You always have to, you're in the war, but there it's how things are going. We have to see, if we go to Iran now, how things are going to evaluate, to get transformed on the 20th century. And you want 20 next years. Mm-hmm. And you want to miss this? Mm-hmm. We have to go, because what's going to happen in Iran is what's going to happen to us. And it's very important to go and watch and see and film and understand what's going to happen.
Can you explain a little bit better, or a little bit more, when you say it's going to happen to us?
Well, we were in the Lebanese war had begun in 75, mm-hmm. and we were in 81 exactly, and the Lebanese war was changing of tendency. Mm-hmm. The Shia community was getting importance. There had been the revolution in Iran. Mm-hmm. The Shah had been thrown down. The American had been kidnapped at the embassy, and everybody was talking about Iran and the revolution of Iran. And we felt like now, when we feel something is happening in Egypt, something is happening in Syria, Iran. We are a country in Lebanon where we take, if you take this fish for instance, where all what happens around have a direct reaction on mm-hmm. our lives mm-hmm. and the policy. So what happened in Iran was going to give importance to the Shia, and if you look to what happens in all the Arab world and in all the region, Middle Eastern region, we are in a war between Sunnah and Shia, which has never existed since I was born, let's say. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go to the old times and to the beginning of the separation between Sunnah and Shia. And anyway, it was a political religious history, and there someone was bringing again on the table what became some years later, which is today. Well, we were in 81 and now we are in 2013. The antagonism between Sunnah and Shia. Mm. So as scholars, because we went out of university, we made our thesis on economical and political subject, and with this friend who was more aware than me, he said, well, it's the beginning of the rise of the Shia. Uh-huh. So that's how we went to mm-hmm. Iran, to understand how it was coming to us, what was going to be the reaction mm-hmm. to us. We went to study the Iranian society. So we accepted to do this subject. And what's rule under Islam was for us not what's happening in this territory, Islamic country, which was Shia. Mm. we didn't answer directly to the Japanese proposal. We made it less, we can't say Orientalist because it's a bit difficult. We had a more precise look on it. Yeah.
Well, I suppose because, as you say, it was something that was directly looking at affecting Lebanon, and also you had studied in this area. So did that give you access, having studied in the area, did that give you access to any people in Iran, or how did you manage to interview the broad range of people that you have access to?
Well, we were all preparing our masters or PhD in the Sorbonne in Paris, and there we had common friends, and some were Iranians, between them Bani Sadr and Salamatian and Soutabe, and I mean many friends studying there, and suddenly we did not know that they had such political activities, and we discovered they were very linked to the revolution and to what was happening in Iran. And some friend of us told us, don't worry, we come and follow the campaign of Bani Sadr to be elected president in Iran. And 2 years later, I think, or 1 year before, Khomeini had come back to Iran. So Bani Sadr was very linked to it. But there in Iran, we found the beginning of the fight between the different tendency, going up, the democratic tendency, the Hezbollah tendency, and so it's the Hezbollah tendency that won, the more tough one, strong one. And we just observed. And when I watched recently the Egyptian Spring, all what happened, I was less enthusiastic than all the others, because I knew how things turned and how things are manipulated very quickly. But I didn't think it was going to be manipulated so quickly.
So that's interesting, because the film obviously, yeah, it has a real relevance just at this very point again. I was just going to ask you in conclusion about how often the film's been screened, what happened to it, where it is now.
The film, in French we say it's an inédit, c'est-à-dire non-seen for many years, and it has been seen in Japan. At this time, imagine, France refused to show this film on television. I don't know why. They were what disturbed them in this film, so that they didn't show it. It was showed privately with our friends in Beirut, then it went back to its boxes, and slept until now, until International Asian Film Festival of Vesoul in France wanted to see it, and they restored it. And then you came and you said, wow, what's this film? I'm working on a thesis and I want to show it absolutely in my Iranian.
Well, you've told me about it for many years, but I'd never seen it, and this was finally the opportunity to see it. It's fantastic.
And one thing I didn't tell you is when I was making my studies in Lebanon, in my 4th year of economy, I had a teacher which was a priest, very open to, very ecumenical, open to other religions, not at all fanatic, very wise man. And in the only course that I remember, because I'm very bad in economy today, the only course that I remember is this policy of economy and policy of the Middle East. And I remember his last course was about the Shia, and he said, watch from this side, study from this side, revolution and changes are coming from this side. So we knew that for us Shia doesn't take power, so he was afraid, he was wondering if they take power, what was going to have. They are on power because they are supposed to be revolutionary, but not take power, make changes. And he told us, follow, study this. And so when the film came and my friend convinced me to go, I didn't need a lot to be convinced, because I had this background in my head.
Mm.
That's how we arrived to Iran, and we were very curious about everything. You see, imagine this table. So we wanted to see how every point of this table has been constructed or is functioning.
Mm.
That's how you see problem of women, social problems, the Mujahideen, the Hezbollah, the war between Iraq and Iran, beginning, the oil problem. We went back to history of Mossadegh and to the oil today. If Iran had the possibility of making its revolution and being independent, and this leads you to all what's going on today, and hopefully not war between Israel, Iran and America.
Exactly, yes. Well, certainly for me, the first time I went to Iran was 2001, and I found your film to be a really interesting background for it, and I hope the rest of the audience will too.